Summer is here, so that means it's time for another everyday carry update. I love doing these seasonally. It gives me enough time to check out some new items, give some updates on some old favorites. So without any further ado, let's jump into the first item, and that is a new pocket knife I'm trying from Civivi. The Mini Praxis. I'm a longtime fan of the Elementum. Civivi does a great job in this budget price range. I saw the Mini Praxis and thought it looked really interesting, and I loved the actual style of this specific one as well. It's a 5860 HRC Damascus drop point blade. Damascus just has this really beautiful design. I think it's really well done here. The blade's about 3 inches with a total length of 6.8 inches. The scales on here are wood as well. It's a Jaborsha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Jaborsha wood scales. It looks really beautiful, this sort of rosewood with the Damascus pattern on the blade. Just a really great combo. And aside from the aesthetics, Civivi still holds up to my high standard of them. The flipper lock is great. The blade was plenty sharp when I received it. The one thing with the Mini Praxis to make note of though, it definitely has a mini feel on here. This is a lot smaller than most of the blades I'm used to carrying, so it took some adjusting in the grip. But overall, this has been really great, especially for the $70. This is the first time I've strayed from the Elementums when testing the Civivi knives. I had a button lock Elementum I was using earlier this year for a bit. Really great knives for a really solid price. I've been super happy with that one. I'm jumping the gun a bit for this next one out of excitement. I usually save my on-person items for last, but I just got this in a few days ago and I am just so excited to talk about it. I have the Timex Ironman Flicks. This is a collaboration with Huckberry. It's actually the original 1999 design of the Ironman Flicks. I'm a sucker for those like retro digital watches, as you all know, and I tend to favor the Casios, but I do have a couple of Timex watches as well and really love those. But I was so happy when I saw the release of this. It's a 44mm resin case. It definitely wears pretty small for 44mm, like most digital watches in my experience. Has all the typical digital watch stuff, which I really like, timer, stopwatch, alarms, all of that. But you also have a couple of fun little options here. Because it's the Ironman, you have a 100 lap memory if you want to use this to time yourself for different laps. Not something I'll really use it for, but I do use my watch timers basically every day, mostly in the kitchen when I'm cooking. You do also have the option to make little memos in here. I love seeing those sort of like retro throwback features. Like I have my Casio databank that has a Rolodex in it. Just always fun, probably not the most functional, but just a nice little throwback to old like retro tech that I just absolutely love seeing. Like all Timex watches, you have the great Indiglow as well, so a really great backlight system. You have 100 meters of water resistance. And one thing I did notice and really appreciate, this is a Huckberry collaboration, but they didn't actually add any additional branding or changes on here. This is the exact like replica original design from the original Ironman Flicks back in the 90s. So just a nice little throwback piece of tech. You all know I'm obsessed with that with all of my watches, so this was a great addition that I'm really happy to be having for this summer. Next up on the list, I've got a new pair of headphones. These are the Soundcore Liberty 4 NC headphones by Anker. Anker was kind enough to send these out to me in preparation for their release and to sponsor this week's episode, so huge thanks to them. I've been testing these the past few weeks in preparation for this video, and I have been truly surprised by the overall quality of them. The main feature for these is the noise canceling, hence the name NC. The noise canceling was truly great when I tested these out. They say it reduces noise by 98.5%. My home office here is right next to a big HVAC unit for our apartment, so that's usually how I'll test the noise canceling, and these held their own completely with even any of the higher end noise canceling headphones I've tried before. They also include a transparency mode to hear what's around you. I would definitely say that's adequate, but the features really shine with the noise canceling. You have an adaptive noise canceling option as well in the app that you can use. The app is really great, by the way. I would highly recommend that you check it out. It unlocks a lot of features for the headphones. Sound quality has been excellent. These are definitely a bit of a bassier sound, but something I was really impressed with was the control of the bass. Sometimes it can get muddy when you have that extra bass sound in there. Really nice, clean, crisp bass in here, and the treble is also pretty sharp and nice as well. The overall sound stage really has been great for a pair of headphones with this price. I tested these primarily with with 2 different albums. I've been obsessed with the new Sleep Token release since it came out, Take Me Back to Eden, so I've been listening to that a lot. And then there's also another album I always use to test headphones, and that's Kids by Noga Eras. The production on that album is incredible. There's really crisp highs with her vocals and just really great deep bass and clean bass and just all sorts of things to be able to pay attention to. So that's primarily what I use to check these out and to kind of test the sound quality compared to my other headphones. And they really did not disappoint. Sound quality has been way better than I expected them to be. I'm definitely partial to the bassier sound that these provide. They have the Soundcore signature EQ setting in the app, but you can also change that out if you do prefer a little more of a treble heavy sound or bass reduction, bass boost, all sorts of options in there that make pretty big differences in the overall sound quality. These use capacitive tap controls on the side. I found them to work perfectly well and definitely exactly as advertised. No misfires or accidental issues or anything like that. Tap controls work great and exactly how you'd expect. Another really surprising thing for me was the fit. These fit my ears really well. I tend to have a lot of trouble with fit. You know, my AirPods, I've had to switch out to foam tips because the silicone tips just slide out. The fit on these has been really great just with the stock size option that they come installed with. I had no slippage. I've worked out with these a handful of times. Completely great fit. I was really surprised by that. You do have 4 different earbud size options that come packaged with it, so you can kind of adjust as needed to get the ideal fit for you. The case is also really nice. It's a pretty reasonable size here. I know sometimes these earbud cases can get a bit large. You have a really satisfying magnetic slip in here when you put the headphones in. Overall, just a really nice polished look. The retail price for these will be $99, but they are doing an early bird pricing special as of today when this video comes out. They'll be discounted $20 off down to $79. For $79, these are truly excellent. I would highly recommend that you check them out if you are in the market for some new or different headphones. I've been really happy with them and will definitely continue to be using them through this summer. Huge thanks again to Soundcore for sponsoring this week's video. Be sure to check the links down in the description below, and let's get into the next item. Next up, I've got a new wallet. This is the SlimFold Micro Soft Shell wallet. I learned about SlimFold when I did the AI generated EDC, and honestly, like 2 or 3 days after that, they reached out and offered to send me some out to test and try. So I've been using this for a little while now. And so far, it has honestly been okay. I don't know if any of you have experience with SlimFold. They are definitely a unique style of wallet compared to just about everything else I've tried. Some basic specs really quick. It holds 8 to 10 cards, which I would definitely say is accurate. Weighs about half an ounce or about 14 grams. So really lightweight. And the soft shell material is proprietary to them. Definitely has a really nice soft feel. There is no rigidity at all. They actually have little plastic inserts that they put in the back of the wallet to give it a bit of structure, because this material is waterproof and super durable, but just doesn't have that rigidity. You can kind of crumple it up like a little loose piece of fabric if you didn't have those inserts in here. It's made in the USA, which I was really excited about, but after I got it, I was a little disappointed with the construction quality. Probably didn't help that I do have the bright orange stitching here, and I'm not trying to dog on them too bad, but the stitching is really sloppy. A lot of times people want, made in America, made in USA products for the additional craftsmanship. I feel like the stitching quality here looks, really strong and reinforced in all the areas where it needs to be, but it definitely just is sloppy in the stitching quality. So I'm not sure, how they do the stitching on here, but I was a little disappointed to see that. Overall, I don't think this wallet is for me. You have a little clear ID slot on here, which was probably a really nice touch for someone that might need that. It's not something I would typically need. I'm getting old now and I don't get carded very often. If I'm being honest, the gray beard hairs are starting to show through. So yeah, not my favorite, and I was a little disappointed in the construction quality, but I do think there's a market for this, and I do think someone would really like it. If you need to hold a lot of cards pretty comfortably, if you want this kind of more traditional bifold style, this would be a pretty compelling option for some. For me, I'm probably going to be switching back to something different after recording this video and after testing it. I do have a couple of other things from them I'm going to be testing and checking out and trying, so I'll be sure to update Like I said, not a bad wallet, just a little bit sloppy on the stitching, but otherwise, really solid for what it is. And as you all know, I've been getting more and more into flashlights lately, so I have a new one I've been checking out. This one's from Nightcore. It's the EDC 27 flashlight. I believe this came out pretty recently. This is way more flashlight than I definitely need, but in the best way possible. This flashlight is relatively small. It's about 5 inches long and it's only half an inch thick, but it has a 3000 lumen output, which is just completely insane to me. It has 220 meters of throw, which is great. 3000 lumens. You have a few different steps in there if you need, and there is a 3000 lumen strobe option on here as well. If you get into any sort of emergency or something. I found the overall controls to be a bit confusing at first, but once you get used to them, it's pretty intuitive and easy. You have a display in the front that'll show the lumen output and the battery life, which is great. I love these, rechargeable flashlights when they have the battery life option on there. It's a huge help for me, so I know when to charge it. They state it's a runtime up to 37 hours. It has a 1700 milliamp hour battery life in here. The body is actually made out of stainless steel. It has a titanium finish and a matte coating on here. Overall, this feels really premium and just has a ton of polish to it with the design. Specs are crazy. 3000 lumens I think is more than most people are going to need for a little EDC flashlight. Really great overall. Definitely like a proper big boy flashlight for me. Like I've said, I'm getting into it more and more lately, so it's been fun diving in and learning about all this stuff. Got a few oldies but goodies coming up here. I'll try not to dwell too much on items that I've talked about in past updates, but first up I've got the Huckberry Cruisers. These are old but new. I actually picked up a second pair of these with a slightly different colorway. I have the Tortoise Forest combo here, so it's a green lens and then this nice tortoise body. These are going to be a little bit more versatile. They'll work really well with black or brown kind of based outfits. I love these cruisers though. They're $35. They're polarized. They look awesome. One of the few sunglasses I actually get compliments on all the time. Really inexpensive. They look great. Tons of color options and stuff too. Just can't go wrong with those. And then from there, I have the reigning champion of my favorite key organizer after so much testing, the Jibbin key organizer here. I was going to switch back to the black one because I have both, but this one's really starting to show some nice patina on the leather, so I've been keeping up using it and it's aging and looking great. Jibbin key organizers are my favorite by far. I won't dwell too much. Holds up to 9 keys. It's a toolless design, so you can access it without having to get a screwdriver out or anything like that. Just really great quality, really great aesthetics, functionally great, pretty reasonable in price too. Always looking for new key organizers to check out, but this is definitely still the reigning champ for me. Another long favorite of mine, the Banks Mag Clap. It's a 5000 milliamp hour MagSafe battery. This thing's just really slim, lightweight. It makes a great thing to throw in the sling bag if you want to extend the battery life of your phone. It'll charge up to 7 watts when it's wireless, 12 watts wired if you do want to plug it in, or if you don't have MagSafe or helping a friend out, something like that. 5000 milliamps is great for like a day-to-day thing, just as a backup. They did just come out with a new one that's 10,000 milliamps and has a little kickstand on it. Really excited to check that one out and try it out. Probably a little overkill in the capacity for an everyday carry, but really great travel option. So I'll be sure to update as I try that one out. Sometimes I forget to put it on the table, but I also always keep an AirTag in my sling bag. Really important to have that. I've forgotten my sling bag when I'm out and I've been able to track it down here without it getting lost. Just a nice little piece of security, especially if you're clumsy and forget things. But if it were to get stolen or something, you can probably track it for a while and figure out where it ended up and hopefully retrieve all of your items. Just a great little peace of mind security item there. From there, I also have the Nanobag, long favorite that you all recommended to me. I don't have any affiliation with them or anything, but just really great, lightweight. I think it weighs, less than an ounce. Holds like 60 plus pounds. I use this all the time to grab groceries if I'm out and wasn't planning on it. Just great to keep in for errands and things like that. I walk around the city on foot generally, so I need to carry everything with me. I can't just toss something in my car and drive home. Another long-standing favorite and champion is the Vala Alta handkerchief. I was on a big handkerchief hunt for years. It's all documented on the channel here if you go back and watch the videos. Found these a while back and they are just perfect for me. Linen is a little bit better than cotton for the handkerchiefs for a number of reasons. Dries quicker, absorbs more. Been really happy with these as they've aged and softened up over time. It's really nice quality. I'm still looking out. They said that they were potentially coming out with some larger sizes. These are 12 inch by 12 inch. So I'll be sure to update if they do release those. I haven't actually checked their website in a bit, so hopefully they didn't already and I don't sound like an idiot. But definitely my favorite handkerchiefs by far with everything I've tried and used over the years. Next up, I've got my hat here. I change out my hats pretty often. I've built up a little mini collection, so I do change it out. But I've been using this one a lot for summer just because it's a little lighter and airier. Kind of felt the summer vibe in this one. It says Mental Vacation. It's from a brand called Catin. It's a cotton twill. It has an embroidered patch on here, snapback. Really comfortable. I think the Mental Vacation thing is funny. I'm getting in more into these sort of like snarkier, goofy hats and just having a ton of fun with it. Last but not least, I've got a new sling. This is the Bellroy Light Sling. Tried out a Bellroy sling a while back and enjoyed it, but had some issues with the organization. This is a 7-liter sling. This is a newer color for them. It's called Arcade Gray. I like this kind of grid pattern. It almost blends in with my desk here, which is kind of fun. But this is a pretty like bare bones, simplified sling bag, and I'm definitely here for it. It's a really lightweight ripstop fabric. It's actually an rPET material, so it's made from recycled plastic bottles. Always fun to see the more, environmentally conscious fabrics and stuff being used. I also do really like on this one, they use these water resistant zips. I don't think they're technically YKK AquaGuard, but they definitely look like it. And so far in my experience, they act like it. Organization is pretty minimal in here as well, but I kind of like that because this is such like a looser, open structure bag. I'm totally good with that. It's just when the organization is bad and eats up space in the bag that I have more problems with it. So this has had plenty of room to kind of fit everything I need. And you have a little bit of organization there, which has been helpful. So far, it's been really solid for me. But that's actually going to wrap it up for the video today. Like I said, few old favorites, few new updates. I really hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear if you have any new EDC gear, what you're checking out, what you're trying, if there's anything that you want me to try in a future video. Always love to hear it. Let's get a discussion going down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching though, and I'll talk to you in the next one.